Tom had heard the stories. The locals in the nearby town would mutter about the Lady of the Hollow, a creature who haunted the woods around the abandoned cabins. She was said to taunt travelers, pulling them into the shadows where they would disappear forever. Most dismissed it as superstition, until Tom came to stay in one of those very cabins. The evening air was thick with the scent of pine as Tom unpacked his bags, the only sound the soft crackle of firewood in the cabin's hearth. He smiled, feeling relieved to be away from the bustle of city life, hoping to finally find some peace. But as night fell, an unsettling chill crept through the trees. A soft rustle from the woods beyond the cabin caught his attention. It sounded like whispering, low and garbled, too faint to make out. At first he shrugged it off as wind, but then the whispers grew clearer. His name, Tom. It was a soft, croaky voice, like an old woman calling from a distance. Come, closer. His heart skipped. The voice wasn't quite right, its tone sweet but twisted, coaxing him in a way that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Against his better judgment, he stepped outside, his feet crunching on the frost-hardened earth. He peered into the trees, but saw nothing but shadows. "Who's there?" he called out, though his voice sounded small, as if it didn't belong in the vast, empty night. "Come to me," the voice whispered again, this time much closer. Tom took a step forward, his breath quickening. The trees seemed to shift, as though alive, bending and groaning in the wind. Then he saw it. A figure emerged from the woods, her form barely visible at first, just a dark shape in the night. But as she stepped into the moonlight, Tom froze, his blood turning cold. The figure was a grotesque fusion of human and bird. The lower body of a crow, dark and feathered, twisted and clacked like brittle bones. Her upper body, hunched and skeletal, was that of an old woman, dressed in tattered black robes that trailed like smoke behind her. Her face was an unreadable mask of ancient age, hollow eyes glimmering with malice. The creature's wings stretched wide, nearly blocking the sky above, their edges frayed like rotting paper. And in that instant, the air around Tom began to crackle, the whispers growing louder, voices rising from all directions, pulling at his thoughts, gnawing at his sanity. "Come closer." Just a little further. Tom stumbled back, but the creature's gaze fixed on him, and his legs refused to move. She spoke, her voice like the rustling of dead leaves, her words wrapping around his mind. "Why do you resist, little one? You're already here. You've always been here." He tried to turn, to run, but his feet felt like they were sinking into the earth, trapped in an invisible grip. "No," he gasped, struggling against her influence. But the whispers in his mind only deepened. "Closer. Come." The creature stepped forward, her mouth curving into a twisted smile. "Don't worry, traveler. You'll never leave. Just like the others." The last thing Tom saw before his vision blurred was the flash of her wings, the darkness swallowing him whole. Back at the cabin, the fire crackled and burned, but there was no sign of Tom the next morning. Only the faint, eerie rustle of whispers on the wind, and the woods stood silent, as if nothing had ever happened at all. But if you listen closely, just close enough, you might hear it too. Come closer.